There's a certain stillness at night, when the world has gone quiet and the only sound is the rain against the window. That's when we look back, tracing the final moments before lives were forever changed. This is Chasing the Last Hour, a journey through the last chapters of true stories, told softly in the dark. In this series, we travel state by state, uncovering the crimes and mysteries that linger in memory long after the headlines fade. We've already walked through the cold shadows of Alaska and the tangled histories of Alabama. Tonight, we find ourselves in the desert, Arizona, a place where beauty and danger often share the same horizon, where the heat can be relentless, the canyons endless, and sometimes the secrets even deeper. These are the stories Arizona will never forget. Travis Victor Alexander entered the world on July 28, 1977, in Riverside, California, but his early years were marked by the kind of neglect that leaves permanent scars on a child's psyche. His parents, Gary David Alexander and Pamela Elizabeth Aim Alexander, were both consumed by drug addiction, methamphetamine specifically, leaving Travis and his 7 siblings to navigate a household where basic necessities were luxuries and parental guidance was non-existent. The Alexander children often went days without food. They wore the same clothes for weeks at a time. The electricity was frequently shut off. Travis, even as a young boy, took on the role of protector for his younger siblings, scrounging for food and trying to maintain some semblance of normalcy in a home that was anything but normal. Neighbors later recalled seeing the children digging through trash cans looking for anything edible. The turning point came when Travis was 10 years old. His paternal grandmother, Norma Sarvey, could no longer stand watching her grandchildren suffer. She intervened, taking Travis and his siblings into her home in Riverside. It was Norma who introduced Travis to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and for a boy who had known only chaos, the structure and community of the Mormon faith became his anchor. By all accounts, Travis embraced his new life with remarkable determination. He excelled in school, participated in church activities, and began developing the charismatic personality that would define him as an adult. At Riverside Community College, he studied business and communications, but his real education was happening in the world of sales and motivation. In his early 20s, Travis discovered Prepaid Legal Services, a multi-level marketing company that sold legal insurance plans. For someone with Travis's background, intimate familiarity with struggle, the company's message of financial independence through hard work and determination resonated deeply. He wasn't just selling legal services, he was selling hope, transformation, the possibility of a better life. Travis was exceptional at it. He had an authentic story of overcoming adversity, and when he spoke at company conferences, people listened. His presentations weren't just sales pitches, they were testimonials to the power of persistence. By 2006, he was one of the company's rising stars, earning 6 figures annually and living in a beautiful 4-bedroom home on East Queensboro Avenue in Mesa, Arizona. The house became a gathering place for his wide circle of friends. Travis was known for hosting dinner parties, movie nights, and informal get-togethers. Friends described him as generous to a fault, always picking up the check, always offering to help someone in need. He dated frequently, but hadn't found anyone he considered marriage material, something that concerned him as a devout Mormon approaching 30. His faith remained central to his identity. Travis served as a Sunday school teacher, participated in church leadership, and spoke openly about his goal of finding an eternal companion, Mormon terminology for a spouse he could marry in the temple for time and all eternity. He wanted children, a stable family life, everything his own childhood had lacked. The prepaid legal conference in Las Vegas that September was routine for Travis. Another company event, another opportunity to network and inspire potential recruits. But when he spotted Jodi and Arias across the hotel conference room, routine became anything but ordinary. Jodi was undeniably striking. At 26, she had long brown hair, piercing eyes, and the kind of beauty that made people stop mid-conversation. She was there as a guest of another prepaid legal representative, exploring the business opportunity while working as a bartender and aspiring photographer in Palm Desert, California. Their initial conversation lasted hours. Travis was immediately drawn to Jodi's intelligence and apparent interest in personal development and spirituality. Jodi, for her part, seemed fascinated by Travis's story, his rise from poverty, his success, his unwavering faith. By the end of the conference, they had exchanged numbers and made plans to see each other again. What Travis didn't know, what he couldn't have known, was that Jodi Arias came with considerable baggage. Born in Salinas, California on July 9, 1980, Jodi had a history of unstable relationships and reinventing herself to fit whatever situation she found herself in. She had dropped out of high school, earned her GED, and bounced between various jobs and relationships throughout her 20s. Her romantic history was particularly troubling. Previous boyfriends described her as initially charming and attentive, but ultimately possessive and manipulative. She had a pattern of becoming completely absorbed in her partner's interests, adopting their hobbies, their social circles, even their belief systems, only to become increasingly controlling as the relationships progressed. Travis and Jodi's relationship accelerated at breakneck speed. They talked on the phone for hours every night, sometimes until 3 or 4 a.m. They exchanged hundreds of text messages daily. When they weren't together physically, they were together digitally, maintaining constant contact that friends later described as obsessive. Within weeks of meeting, Jodi was making the 5-hour drive from California to Mesa regularly. She would arrive unannounced at Travis's home, often staying for days at a time. Travis's friends began to notice changes in his behavior. He became less available, more secretive, and seemed constantly distracted by his phone. The relationship's intensity was matched by its complexity. As devout Mormons, both Travis and Jodi were expected to maintain chastity before marriage. But their physical attraction was undeniable, and they frequently violated the moral code they both claimed to uphold. This created a cycle of guilt, repentance, and repeated transgression that would define their time together. In November 2006, just 2 months after meeting, Jodi converted to Mormonism. Travis baptized her himself in a ceremony at an LDS chapel in Southern California. To outsiders, it appeared to be a romantic gesture, a spiritual union that formalized their relationship. But friends close to Travis later revealed he had expressed doubts about Jodi's sincerity, wondering if her conversion was motivated by genuine faith or by a desire to bind herself more closely to him. By early 2007, the red flags were becoming impossible to ignore. Jodi's possessiveness had evolved into outright stalking behavior. She would show up at Travis's house when she wasn't invited. She followed him on dates with other women. Friends reported seeing her hiding in bushes outside his home, watching and waiting. Travis confided to several friends that Jodi had somehow gained access to his email and social media accounts. She knew details about his conversations and activities that he hadn't shared with her. When confronted, she would deny any wrongdoing, often turning the accusation back on him and questioning why he needed privacy if he had nothing to hide. The couple broke up and reconciled repeatedly throughout 2007. Each breakup followed a similar pattern. Travis would express frustration with Jodi's behavior and attempt to end the relationship. Jodi would become distraught, sometimes threatening self-harm, and eventually wear down Travis's resistance with promises to change. The reconciliation period would be passionate and intense, followed inevitably by a return to the same toxic dynamics. Travis's friends grew increasingly concerned. They organized informal interventions, expressing their worries about Jodi's mental state and the unhealthy nature of the relationship, but Travis seemed unable or unwilling to make a clean break. Later, psychological analysis would suggest that Travis, having grown up in a chaotic household, was unconsciously drawn to the familiar patterns of instability that Jodi represented. By February 2008, Travis had reached a breaking point. He told multiple friends that he was done with Jodi for good. He had begun seriously dating other women and talking about his desire to find someone suitable for marriage. In Mormon culture, where eternal families are the ultimate goal, Travis felt he was running out of time to find the right partner. But Jodi wasn't ready to let go. In April 2008, she made a dramatic gesture. She sold her belongings, quit her job, and moved to Mesa to be closer to Travis. She rented a small room in a house and took a job waiting tables, apparently hoping that proximity would rekindle their relationship. Travis was not pleased. He made it clear to friends that Jodi's move to Arizona was unwelcome and that he had no intention of resuming their romantic relationship. He began dating a woman named Lisa Andrews seriously, and friends believed he was considering proposing to her. The rejection devastated Jodi. Coworkers at the restaurant where she worked described her as increasingly erratic and obsessed with Travis's activities. She would spend her breaks driving by his house or checking his social media profiles. She seemed unable to accept that the relationship was over. In late April 2008, Jodi abruptly moved back to California, taking a job with a house cleaning service in Wairika. To Travis's friends, her departure felt like a relief. Perhaps now he could move on with his life without the constant drama and surveillance that had characterized his relationship with Jodi. But the physical distance did nothing to diminish Jodi's obsession. Phone records would later show that she continued to call and text Travis regularly throughout May 2008. Some of these communications were friendly, even flirtatious. Others were accusatory and bitter. The pattern suggested someone struggling to accept reality, swinging between hope for reconciliation and rage at being rejected. The morning of June 4th, 2008 began normally for Travis Alexander. He was preparing for an important business trip to Cancun, Mexico, scheduled to depart the following day. The trip was a company incentive reward, and Travis was planning to take Lisa Andrews as his guest. It was intended to be a romantic getaway that might lead to an engagement proposal. What Travis didn't know was that Jodi Arias was already on her way to Arizona. She had rented a white Ford Focus from Budget Rental Car in Redding, California, on June 2nd, paying in cash and declining the company's GPS tracking system. She had also borrowed 2 5-gallon gas cans from her ex-boyfriend, Daryl Brewer, claiming she needed them for a road trip to Utah to visit a potential romantic interest. Cell phone records would later show that Jodi turned off her phone for long stretches during the drive from California to Arizona, a deliberate attempt to avoid creating a digital trail of her location. She stopped at several gas stations along the route, filling both her tank and the gas cans to avoid having to stop for fuel in Arizona, where credit card records might place her in the state. By the afternoon of June 4th, Jodi was in Mesa. Exactly how she gained entry to Travis's home remains unclear. She may have had a key, or Travis may have let her in willingly, unaware of her intentions. What is known, based on recovered digital evidence, is that by late afternoon, Travis and Jodi were together in his bedroom. The digital camera found in Travis's washing machine contained dozens of photos from that day. The early images showed Travis and Jodi in bed together, intimate photos of a sexual encounter that suggested the meeting was initially consensual. The timestamp on these photos indicated they were taken around 1:40 p.m. More photos followed, including several artistic nude shots that Jodi had taken of Travis. He appeared relaxed and willing, unaware that these images would become crucial evidence in a murder case. The final photos of Travis alive were taken in his master bathroom shower around 5:30 p.m. In these pictures, he appeared to have just finished showering and was posing for the camera. But the last photo told a different story entirely. At exactly 5:32:16 p.m., according to the camera's timestamp, a final image was captured. This one, accidentally, as evidenced by its blurred, chaotic composition. It showed Travis Alexander on the bathroom floor, very much alive, but clearly in distress, with blood beginning to pool around his head and neck. What happened in those crucial minutes after 5:32 p.m. can only be reconstructed from the physical evidence left behind, but that evidence painted a picture of unimaginable violence and terror. The medical examiner's report would later reveal that Travis Alexander suffered 27 stab wounds, concentrated primarily on his back, chest, and hands. The hand wounds, defensive wounds, indicated that Travis had tried desperately to protect himself as Jodi attacked him with a knife. One stab wound penetrated his heart. Another punctured his vena cava, the major vein returning blood to the heart. But the stabbing was only the beginning. Travis's throat had been slashed from ear to ear with such force that the wound was nearly 5 inches deep, severing his airway, his carotid arteries, and his jugular veins. The cut was so deep it nearly decapitated him. This wound alone would have been fatal within minutes. As if the stabbing and throat slashing weren't enough, Travis had also been shot in the head. The bullet, fired from a .25 caliber weapon, entered above his right eyebrow and lodged in his left cheek. The gunshot wound, while not immediately fatal, would have been incapacitating. The blood evidence throughout the house told the story of Travis's final minutes. Despite his injuries, he had managed to crawl from the bathroom toward the bedroom, leaving a trail of blood that showed his desperate attempt to escape his attacker. The blood pattern indicated that the shooting occurred first, followed by the stabbing as Travis tried to flee, and finally the throat slashing as he collapsed in the bathroom hallway. The brutality of the attack suggested a level of rage that went far beyond simple murder. This was personal, intimate violence inflicted by someone who felt deeply betrayed or rejected. The overkill, 3 different methods of attack, multiple wounds to ensure death, indicated that the killer wanted Travis to suffer. After Travis Alexander's brutal murder, Jodi Arias engaged in an elaborate attempt to cover her tracks. The digital camera that captured the final moments of Travis's life was placed in the washing machine and run through a wash cycle, an attempt to destroy the evidence that would ultimately convict her. She cleaned blood from her hands and changed clothes, leaving no fingerprints or DNA evidence that would definitively place her at the scene. She took Travis's cell phone and laptop computer, presumably to delete any communications between them that might establish motive. But Jodi made critical mistakes in her cover-up attempt. The washing machine's spin cycle wasn't powerful enough to destroy the camera's memory card, which survived with all its damning photographic evidence intact. She also failed to account for the sophisticated forensic techniques that would later be employed by investigators. By evening, Jodi was back on the road to Utah, maintaining her alibi that she had been driving there to meet another man. She stopped at several locations along the way, creating a paper trail of receipts and interactions with witnesses who would later testify about her demeanor and appearance. Phone records showed that Jodi called Travis's cell phone multiple times during her drive to Utah, presumably to create the impression that she was unaware of his death and was simply trying to reach him. These calls went directly to voicemail, as Travis's phone was no longer in service. By June 9, 2008, Travis Alexander's absence had become impossible to ignore. He had missed an important conference call with his prepaid legal team, something completely out of character for someone who prided himself on reliability and professionalism. When repeated phone calls went unanswered, his friends knew something was seriously wrong. That evening, a group of Travis's closest friends, including Zach Billings, his roommate, and several others, went to his house on East Queensboro Avenue. The front door was locked, and Travis's BMW was in the garage, suggesting he was home, but there was no response to their knocking. Growing increasingly worried, the friends found an unlocked door and entered the house. The first floor appeared normal, no signs of struggle or disturbance. But as they made their way upstairs toward Travis's bedroom, they began to detect a foul odor that would later be identified as the smell of decomposition. The master bedroom showed signs of disturbance. The bedding was disheveled, and there were what appeared to be dark stains on the carpet. But it was when they reached the master bathroom that the true horror of the scene became apparent. Travis Alexander's body was discovered in the shower stall, where it had been decomposing in the Arizona heat for 5 days. The body was positioned awkwardly, slumped against the shower wall, and the extent of his injuries was immediately apparent. Even to these civilian witnesses, it was clear that Travis had died a violent, brutal death. The friends immediately called 911, and within minutes, the Mesa Police Department had secured the scene. Detective Esteban Flores, who would become the lead investigator on the case, arrived shortly thereafter and began what would become one of the most complex and publicize murder investigations in Arizona history. From the moment Detective Flores surveyed the crime scene, several things were immediately apparent. First, this was not a random burglary gone wrong. Nothing of value had been taken from the house, and there were no signs of forced entry. Second, the level of violence suggested a perpetrator who knew the victim personally and harbored intense hatred or rage toward him. The crime scene itself told a story of a prolonged and vicious attack. Blood evidence showed that the violence had occurred primarily in the master bathroom, but had extended into the bedroom and hallway as the wounded victim attempted to escape. The positioning of the body and the blood spatter patterns indicated that Travis had been moved after death, suggesting the killer had attempted to conceal or clean up evidence. Within hours of the discovery, investigators had identified Jodi Arias as a person of interest. The first interrogation session took place at the Siskiyou County Jail and lasted several hours. Jodi appeared calm and cooperative, maintaining her innocence and expressing continued shock at Travis's death. She stuck to her original story. She had not been in Arizona on June 4th, had not seen Travis in months, and knew nothing about his murder.
Can I get you just to have a seat here? I'll be right in.
Do you mind you can take my handcuffs off?
What's that?
Can you take my handcuffs off?
As soon as the detective gets in here, Detective Flores, he can take those off for you. I think that's what he told you anyway, that he'd allow you to have your handcuffs on.
Let me get those off you. Can you stand there for me? Face the other way. Let me get you a bottle of water.
Thank you. Any chance you could get my purse?
Yeah, look at that. From the house.
Will they bring it to me?
It'll probably be put in your property. There's water for you.
Do you want one for yourself?
Yeah, you can get one.
Maybe we could turn the heat up in here. Or like, do you have a sweater I can borrow or something?
I don't have any sweaters. I'll see if I can turn it off. It's hard to control the heat in this building.
That's fine.
Sure I don't lock myself in here. So you remember me?
Of course I do.
I traveled all the way up here to come talk to you. Because, I've been working on Travis's case ever since it happened. Okay, and I know exactly when it happened, when he was killed. I know a lot of details. And just recently we found quite a bit of evidence. And I'll discuss that with you. The main thing that I'm looking for, though, is answers on why certain things happened, why they went so far, and also get your statements.
Okay.
A lot of details on this case that haven't been released to the public, and not even to Travis's family. And those details are known only by us and the person who did it. Okay, and that's one of the reasons I'm here, is because I believe that you know some of these details. And I think you can help us.
I would love to help you in any way that I can.
Okay. Because we're here at the police department, the sheriff's department here in, was it Siskiyou County? That's what it's called? Okay. And you're considered under arrest or detained. You're not free to go. And I'm a police officer, and I have to read you your rights. Okay. I'm sure you've heard them on TV. I have to read them off this little card here, but they're pretty much the same. And I'll explain them to you as we go, okay? Let's see. This is July 15, 2008, correct?
Yes.
Let me see what time it is here. It's 10:01 in the morning. This is case number 2008-161-0844. Okay. You do have the right to remain silent. Okay. Anything you say may be used against you in a court of law. You have the right to the presence of an attorney to assist you prior to questioning and to be with you during questioning if you so desire. If you cannot afford an attorney, you have the right to have an attorney appointed for you prior to questioning. Do you understand these rights?
Yes.
And what I'm going to do is just ask you some questions, ask you what you've been doing, certain dates, what you were up to.
Yeah.
You mentioned you were traveling on some of these dates.
I travel a lot.
I want to kind of clarify some of these things. And, if there's a question that you don't want to answer, you don't feel comfortable, you can say no, or you can elaborate as much as you want. It's completely up to you. It's at your speed. I don't want to pressure you.
Is this recorded at all, or should we?
I don't know if there's a recording or something.
I don't know if these are voice recorders. I noticed them. If they have video, or if they have audio,
I don't
or
think they're-
batteries, or what.
I don't think they're on.
They're really cool.
It's
And
okay.
still heat. Still.
Yeah, I haven't touched those or anything, but
Oh, okay.
they're not on, so what I want to do is just get to the bottom of it. Everybody wants to know, okay? And, so I'm going to ask you some questions. You can voluntarily answer them if you want, okay? Is that cool?
Yeah, that's
Yes.
fine.
There was some question about you being, well, let's start with this. What have you been up to since Travis's death? What have you been doing?
Well, I've been working.
Mhm.
I haven't been really working in prepaid legal. There's not a whole lot here in this marketplace, which is,
It's kind of small here.
it's small here, and really that could be seen as an opportunity rather than a hindrance, because that just means the market is untapped in a large way. So I could have if I wanted to, but I'm kind of like a deer in the headlights when it comes to prepaid legal, and I just have a fear of just approaching people. So I've been working at a Mexican restaurant in the north end of town. I've been kind of in a daze, at least for the first few weeks.
Like everybody,
Yeah. I know that a lot of people have been posting on Facebook really nice things, and memories, and at one point I was like, well, maybe I should do that. So I posted this thing, and I just said all my memories, and I realized looking back on it that it kind of sounded immature. It's more like my Dear Travis kind of letter. And so I took it down
More
because...
personal.
Yeah, some of it was details, a little bit more personal. Not too personal, nothing inappropriate. Just, I just felt funny. I think because I'm a photographer, I tend to communicate more through pictures, so I posted a ton of pictures that I had of him, and I have a ton more that I just can't access right now, and videos and things that I know his family would want. But so I posted pictures and I took that down, and I posted something last week. But other than that, I've been on Facebook and MySpace a lot, looking at his profile, looking at his pictures, reading things about his obituaries and any news updates, and there's legacy.com where you can write something about him.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of those postings.
I didn't realize until I actually spoke with Ryan Burns. He told the guy that's in Utah.
Uh-huh.
And we've been talking a lot, and we try not to talk about that because it's kind of like, ugh. And plus, Travis is my ex-boyfriend, but at the same time, he's my friend. So while I'm mourning my friend, how do you talk to your new potential, possible, maybe person that you might start dating about your friend, even though he was your ex-boyfriend? So it's kind of a gray area. I try not to talk about him too much, but he comes up a lot. And it was through him that I learned that he said, if you come out to Utah, things are really weird because everyone thinks that you could have had a hand
And
in
I've
this.
talked to a lot of people, and everybody's pointing a finger at you.
I know.
Everybody is saying, I don't understand what happened to Travis. I don't know who killed him. But you need to look at Jodi. And sometimes the simplest answers are the correct ones. And that's one of the reasons I started looking at you a little bit closer. And over the last month or so, I've gotten into Travis's life, talked to all his friends, his family. I got a really good understanding of who he is now. And I got a very good understanding of your relationship with him. And I'm kind of just putting two and two together.
Well, I
And
think
it kind of matches. So one of the reasons I'm here is to talk to you to figure out what was going on between you two. I know the relationship that you guys had was of convenience sometimes. Obviously you weren't boyfriend, girlfriend anymore, but you were still having a sexual relationship, which,
Does his family know about that? Just curious.
no,
Just-
his family doesn't know anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm interested in protecting how he's remembered as well, and he was
Well, I'm sure if Travis could speak right now, he wouldn't care what people thought about him, because they knew who he was. Okay, a sexual relationship here or there, because the fact he was a member of the church really doesn't matter.
A couple times I asked him
whole
if he
range
could-
of things.
Yeah, I think in the broad scope of things that could be right. I just think that the reason I care about that is because he was adamant about that. And a couple times we prayed about it, didn't work, or we didn't stick to our guns on it. And one time a girlfriend of mine just said, why don't you just go to your bishop and talk, and ask Travis the same, and I talked to him about it and he got really angry. He said, I've already had problems with this in the past, I'm embarrassed by it, I don't want to go to my bishop. And so we just kind of stopped for like a few weeks, and then that must have been in, I think it was August, and then it just resumed.
Well, the way Travis thought, by getting into his head and everything that he's written in his journals and everything I found out about him, he truly had feelings for you. And for some reason, he felt that the relationship between you and him was somewhat unhealthy, but he couldn't stop it. And I assume that's probably maybe the same way you felt about him, or
It's probably,
maybe you didn't understand why he didn't believe it was healthy.
No, I didn't think it was healthy either, spiritually at least, and probably emotionally, but mostly spiritually. And I think that kind of, once you have something that's not healthy spiritually, it filters through all aspects of your life. It's one of the main, like there were three main reasons I moved back to Eureka, and one was I was in financial dire straits. I was not getting ahead, things were not working. Everything in Arizona was like, except for the wonderful friends that I made in my ward, and the opportunity. It's like the Mormon land of opportunity there, which is awesome, but except for all that, like every sign was pointing, just go, I wasn't able to hold a job, and that had never happened before. Too much of my nightlife was about him. He would text me and, hey, I'm getting sleepy, ... Just a bunch of Z's, and that was his code to like come on over kind of thing. The coast is clear, So, and that was just, I lived 5 minutes away, 10, maybe 10, depending, and it was just too convenient and too easy, and it was fun, and we had fun when we were together, and so it wasn't healthy, and I totally agree with that. So that was one of the reasons. Well, financially, I wasn't doing well. I missed my family. I moved away shortly after high school, and I come back to visit, but I realized over the years I've missed out on a lot of things with my little brother and sister. I missed out on just their karate or their baseball or cheerleading or just whatever, and my dad is not doing well. He doesn't think he has very long to live, but he always says that. It's been that way for like a decade. He's still here, thank goodness. My grandparents aren't getting any younger, and I just have an awesome family. And I wanted to be able to just be here for a little bit and regroup financially. I owe my parents a lot of money, and I owe my grandparents a lot of money, and I owe friends money. I owe my the guy that I bought a house with, I owe him a lot of money. He doesn't ask me for it, but I intend to pay him back because he really footed the bill on the mortgage for a few months. And the third reason, and I like to put this third because I like to think that second to those reasons I would have been strong enough somehow, but the third reason was to put a physical distance between Travis and I, because I know that he really liked Mimi, and he said he did. And I kind of felt guilty. I mean, I know they weren't dating, but I just felt guilty somehow, and I didn't know Ryan at the time. I met him in March in Oklahoma City, and it was just brief, and I remember seeing him and saying, oh, I really want to go say hi to him, but he was surrounded by people, and he was kind of unapproachable. And he says he remembers meeting me too. And it wasn't until Zion, my friend, texted me, and I think I told you that.
And this is all after
This is all after.
broke up.
Oh, yeah.
Broke up with Travis, everything was all over. But
as far as the timeline, we broke. It was kind of a mutual thing, but I sort of more broke up with him.
Yeah.
It was hard to do because I really loved him. But I just realized that without trust, you can't have anything, and I violated his trust.
Is that the main reason you guys broke up? Is the trust?
Trust. I think that there's
not that the relationship was unhealthy because of sexual activity, promiscuity, but just that you guys couldn't trust each other.
I think that, and this doesn't make it right. I think that being a convert, I've had a couple of serious relationships before where I was intimate with a few people, and it's kind of silly, but I used to always joke that regardless of what the Bible says, and yes, I'm Christian, I just live my life by the 10 Commandments, and those are my rules. Thou shalt not this or that, but it doesn't say thou shalt not fornicate. So I just used to joke about that, and it's a bad philosophy. I think that with Travis, there was a part of me that felt really guilty because there was something inside that thought this is nice for instant gratification, but you're destroying what you could have with Travis, and that's why we did pray about it. I remember we knelt by his bed once, and surprisingly, he suggested it. Normally, I would suggest that we pray before we go on a trip or before we eat if we're alone.
It was kind of unusual for him.
Yeah, because he was very resistant to prayer with me. I mean, I think in church it would be fine, and I feel that maybe because we were driving away the Spirit constantly. Or maybe he felt that by inviting the Spirit, he would feel guilty about later on in the evening, or I don't know what the deal was. Or the excuse he used was because I'm a convert, I need more practice saying prayers. He's like, so I'd say, will you say a prayer? He's like, why don't you say a prayer? Why don't you say a prayer? Why don't you say a prayer? So we'd go back and forth, and I don't know, it's just one time when I was on a trip at Havasu Pie, we were all getting on the road, and I think it was with Dan Freeman and his sister Desiree, and they were all like, Jodi, will you say a prayer? And I said, sure, and Travis was like, anyway, I didn't want to argue with them, So, anyway, what was I saying?
Well, he's, the whole trust issue keeps coming back into my mind.
That was the big reason.
He was a big time flirt, and that's the one thing everybody says about him. He flirts a lot. Does he mean anything by it? No, not really. That's just who he is. He did have, girlfriends here or there, and he was at a point in his life where he wanted to really start settling down. He felt like he needed to kind of grow up,
Mm-hmm.
Become a husband, become a father. That time had come, and he felt that the time had come and gone, and he was falling behind.
He told me that too. He said he felt like his time was running out, and I told him that, despite the fact that he's not going to be in a singles ward very much longer, he still has a lot of options. He's still a very eligible bachelor. And he just didn't see it that way. He was like, you don't understand. He's like, that might be true, but my chances are severely reduced once I turn 31. It was like this ticking time bomb.
Finding a good Mormon girl, was difficult because in that church, that most of the girls get married in early 20s.
Yeah. He said he didn't want to marry a girl in her early 20s because he said that he noticed a lot of pattern in the church with girls that married between 19 and 24, so to speak, would they'd start having babies and growing their family, and then they would look at their single girlfriends who were still having fun with no responsibilities, and they would regret getting married. And I think if you're strong in the church, it's not so much a problem, but...
Yeah, depends on who you surround yourself with, too. If you surround yourself with the right people, it's a different story. But, that's where he was. And did you guys ever discuss possibly getting married or anything?
When we were dating, we did.
Okay.
Once we broke up, he brought it up. He actually proposed to me a lot of times, but he wasn't serious. I think he was serious once, and it was when we broke up. And that was really hard because we were on the phone, and it was just like none of that stuff should be done on the phone anyway, but I was hundreds of miles away. And I told him that I loved him. We didn't say I love you during our relationship, but we said it afterward. It was weird.
Okay.
I said, this isn't, breaking up with him on the phone wasn't really the way I wanted to do it, but it was kind of a situation that had just come to a point where it just couldn't be ignored anymore. And
Let's move to after the breakup.
oh, okay.
What kept you in Mesa at that point?
I actually moved to Mesa a few weeks after we broke up.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I mean, as far as the timeline goes. But, I mean, if you want to call it our official breakup, shortly thereafter, it's like we were still seeing each
So
other.
you guys were seeing each other, but it was a long distance type relationship.
It was always long distance when we were officially dating. We dated from about the beginning of February to about the end of June. So
Okay.
February, March, April, May, June, about 5 months total.
Okay. In June of 2007, you guys broke up, and then
June
you moved to
29th.
Mesa.
Yeah, I moved to Mesa sort of.
Most
he was-
people, when they break up, they kind of go their
I
own
know,
way.
and the plans were already in order for me to move there. I was already speaking with a friend who was, was going to be her roommate, and I was her roommate for a short time.
Mhm.
She's kind of flighty. She's a great girl, though. I had talked to Travis about maybe going to Southern California instead,
Okay.
and he's really persuasive.
He persuaded you to stay there in Mesa?
He kind of was playing up all the advantages if I did come to Mesa.
Mhm.
And if I did, he said, it's a great place. We could still see each other and hang out on occasion. This church is very strong. You'll make a lot of friends. And I already knew all this stuff prior because we talked about that. And so I went ahead and just made the move. It sounded at the time like a good idea.
And you guys continued to kind of see each other at that time?
Yeah, at the time I was sort of living more across town over by Greenfield. Do you know where that is?
Yeah.
It was up Greenfield near Broadway. Greenfield and Broadway were the nearest cross streets. And that's where the girl that I was originally talking with, I moved in with her.
Yeah, it's kind of far from
Yeah.
Travis.
Yeah. The thing about her, and just to give you a background of why I moved suddenly, she approached me the weekend after I got there and said, hey, she knocked on my door, can I talk to you for a second? I said, sure. And she moved in with her boyfriend, and they were engaged.
Okay.
And she said, hey, I just wanted to let you know that Scott and I went to Vegas last weekend to tie the knot. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, we haven't told anyone, but we didn't want to live in sin. So we're going to, and she had already been sealed in the temple once and was waiting for her cancel. Or
Yeah.
her
Her sealing to be
to be canceled. So they were going to have a civil wedding on a beach in Oregon. And they did that the following weekend. She told me that on a Monday or Tuesday. It was the beginning of the week. And she said, the reason I'm telling you that is because I'm getting married this weekend. And I have to go out of town a few days ahead of Scott, make arrangements. And now that he's a married man, we don't feel it's right that you be here in the house.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't want to inconvenience you, but is there any way you could stay with somebody else or just find another place? At the time I was waiting on a house in Gilbert because I already knew they were getting married, so I was kind of looking anyway. And there was a great girl named Brenda, and she was waiting on her keys for the mortgage to go through, and it was a great ward, it was a great house, and it was brand new. Construction and all that was really nice. But she didn't get her keys for months and months. I think she's in the house now, but I don't know, I haven't talked to her. So I scrambled. I went to the Institute, I wrote down a bunch of phone numbers, I called them all, a lot of them, I got voicemails. One girl that answered, her name was Tiffany, and she knew Travis. And she was at his services in Arizona and as well, and we've just remained friends sort of like on MySpace and Facebook and that kind of thing. But she said, hey, sorry, that's an outdated posting, I forgot to take it down, but go to this website. So ldshousing.net, I went there. I made 3 phone calls for the places that were within my price range. I didn't think to look where they were. The one girl that called me back, her name was Shannon Derricott. She said, here's my place, here's the directions, go ahead and go out and come see the house. It was available, so we did.
No, go ahead.
You have to get that?
No.
Okay. So I moved out there, and when Travis found out it was so close to him, he freaked out about it. And I made sure to check that it wasn't, that we wouldn't be in the same ward. And it was within his ward boundaries, but it was also within another singles ward boundary, so of course I'm gonna go the other one, because it would just be kind of weird. I mean, I didn't know about him and Lisa at first, so I don't know if they were even dating at that time. I don't know what their whole timeline was. But it still would have been weird, and it wouldn't have made Travis very
During that
comfortable.
time that he was seeing Lisa, did you continue to see him as well?
Yeah, and I didn't know that he was seeing her.
Okay.
You
But he
know.
would call you and have you come over?
Yeah.
I know there was a time when you, I guess, were cleaning his house too for extra money or something.
Yeah, I did
He
that.
hired you?
Yeah, I did that because he knew that I was struggling, and he's like, I've been doing the math, and that happened pretty much right on. I think that started in August. He's like, I've done the math, and I feel that I can be more protective. My time is more valuable than X amount of dollars per hour, so why don't I pay you this per hour, and I'll work, and you can make a little bit of money.
Okay.
So that helps.
That makes sense.
It
And that was
a
around the
little
same time frame as that, the move and back and forth?
Yeah, it was like a few weeks after the move. I was still living with Rachel over on Greenfield
Okay.
before, when that started. And he sent me this picture, and he's like, this is your uniform, have it by Friday, or Thursday, or whatever, and it was this French paint thing. I was like, no.
Yeah, that's him, typical.
Yeah.
Like I said, he's a very flirty guy. And
He is.
Now, obviously the Rachel relation, or not
Lisa?
Rachel, Lisa relationship didn't work out, and then there was a time period he really wasn't seeing anybody, and then Mimi came into the picture. What did you think about her? And their
I didn't know a lot about
relationship?
her. She seems like a really nice girl. He showed me her picture on Facebook. You know, I don't think she had a lot of pictures on there. He said that he's not sure why, but he's pretty sure that she could be it. And I was happy for him. I didn't find out about Lisa.
This conversation you had face to face with him?
Yeah,
or?
yeah, it was in his room. And he had his laptop, you know, just on his bed. I didn't find out about Lisa until after we had this conversation where we decided to all just come clean. And that was quite a conversation. Because I was never unfaithful, but there, you know, when we started dating that timeline around February, the reason I remember February is because he had told me in December, you know, go date other people kind of thing. And so I did. It was January 10th that I went on a date with my friend John for lunch. We just went out and had sushi. Nothing romantic happened.
Yeah.
We didn't hold hands. We didn't kiss. We think we hugged. And I guess it was considered a date because he asked me, and I accepted, and he paid for it. And that was in Pasadena.
Yeah, if he pays for it today.
Yeah, that was in Pasadena. And the following evening, I went out with my friend Abe, and he drinks. He just got like a Maker's Mark, I think is what is his drink, and I got cranberry juice. And we just talked forever about it. He talked about politics, which
One of
is
these guys in the Marine Corps or something?
they're both in prepaid legal. John Dixon is not in prepaid legal anymore. He's moved on to other ventures.
No, but the Marine Corps, are they in the service at all?
No.
Okay.
Abe is he's a little bit older. He's just sort of a businessman.
Okay.
Has a background in, I don't remember, production or
And this is
something.
during the time that you guys were broken up, or
This
still
was
kind of going
I'm
out?
sorry, this was before we started dating.
Okay.
The reason I say this is because he told me a few times, he told me during that conversation too, that he's like, you seem to have a very convenient timeline for when we started dating. Because I used to ask him, like, when did we actually start dating? Because I figured if we ever made it to a year, we might as well celebrate. And he's like, I'm not really sure. And the reason I think it was February 2nd is because do you know of Chris and Sky Hughes? Okay. I used to spend a lot of time at their house. And, you know, they're a wonderful family. And Sky she's somebody that I really opened up to. And, you know, I told her a little bit how I just wasn't sure about Travis at the time. And I wasn't sure what was going on there. And she wrote in this long letter, or she didn't write a letter, Travis wrote the letter, but she kind of got on his case. And they told me all kinds of things about Travis that I wasn't aware of.
What kind of stuff are you talking about?
They said if I don't get away from Travis, I'm gonna become just like Deanna, which is his other ex-girlfriend.
Yeah.
You know, do you want to waste 6 years of your life waiting for him?
Because he can't commit.
He still tells Deanna, I love you, and I was like, what? You know, and that kind of thing.
Yeah, and I truly believe he does love her still.
Oh, he
but
does.
Travis
That's
had he's what you call a player. You know what that means?
Yeah.
He kind of
He doesn't
pulls
intend
girls
to hurt
in,
anybody, though.
but he
No.
can't make a commitment. He portrays himself to be a certain way,
The-
but he's really not. Okay. He portrays himself to have a lot of money. He's not. He doesn't have a lot of money.
He's got a lot of things. He told me the first night that the first night that I met him, or it was the second night, it was at the MGM Grand. He invited me to this executive director banquet, And, he was kind of talking about what his earnings were the last year and how he almost made his 6 figures and that kind of thing. And then he leans in and he goes, in this business, you have to show off your money a little bit. And in prepaid legal, it is. People want to see that you're actually being successful. So, he's done a good job with that.
It's about making money.
Yeah. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, so Chris and Sky were by the end of the conversation, they started calling me Deanna. And I was just like shocked. I didn't want to, the last thing I wanted.
How did you feel about that?
My biggest concern was losing respect in their eyes because I really, really looked up to them. And I thought I would have laughed it off, and I thought it was kind of funny, but I feared inside that I was losing their respect. So when I talked to him next, I was like, what do I do? What do I say? And he ended up writing this long, long, long letter to Sky saying, I just got off the phone with a very reluctant to talk to me Jodi, And she wrote back saying something to the effect like, I wouldn't want my sister to date you. Why do you kiss Jodi in the dark and then act like you guys aren't even together in the daytime? Things like that.
That's a good statement, because that kind of sums up the relationship that you had with him. It seems like he liked you, he loved you. He wanted to be with you, but he was reluctant to make a commitment first off. And truly, he didn't think that you were marriage material. And I don't know why not. I mean, I see you. You're a wonderful girl. You're struggling. You're trying to make your way through life, and I don't see why you guys couldn't have made it.
I think we have very different philosophies on a lot of ways. We would argue about the dumbest things, and he would just want me to admit that he was right, and I would happily do that.
Well, that's a man thing.
And I should have just known better and admitted it. I eventually learned how to argue with Travis, and it's
yes, Travis. My wife. She's like, okay, fine, you're right.
Yeah, eventually that's what I began to do with him. It's like the more I just agree with him, the sooner the argument gets over, and the sooner we can make up. And the makeup was always great. But there were so many times where I just couldn't wrap my mind around what he would. I could, but I would try to get him to do the same for me. Like there was a time when I broke down on the way to LA once when I was going to watch Chris Hughes do a training, and this was January. Mid-January maybe of 2007, and my car got a flat tire, so I had at the time roadside assistance because my car was still under warranty, and they went to take the car in to change the tire and realized that when they sold me the car they didn't give me the wheel lock key. For anti-theft there was wheel lock, so I had to get a hotel room, I had to get my car towed. It was a big nightmare, and I was kind of hungry. It was dinner time, it was 7:38 and it was dark because it was January. And the tow truck guy said, there's a Denny's 2 blocks down here, and there's a Jack in the Box there, and he was driving me to the motel. I said, is there an IHOP around? Because I really like IHOP. He's like, yeah, but it's kind of like 5 miles back in the other direction. I was like, okay. He's like, I can drive you there if you want. And I was like, he's like this short Mexican guy, and he seemed really harmless, and I was like, okay. And he, and I asked him about his life, and he had a wife and kids, and so he wasn't flirting, or he had a girlfriend or something. I don't remember.
Just trying to be nice to you.
Just being nice. And so I ended up telling him, and he didn't ever come on me or ever say anything inappropriate, and then he drove me back and dropped me off, and that was that. And I got to eat. And so I told that to Travis, and he didn't say anything at first, but it got back to Sky, and Sky was like, why didn't you call me? And then I think eventually that was used against me to establish a pattern that I do weird things like that. So that's something we had arguments about a lot, was he's like, I just think that
So he was truly upset with you about that. He felt a little jealous, but...
he told me once that he was a little bit jealous when he found out that I went on those dates. He's like, but I know we're not dating. And he's like, I guess I am a little bit jealous, but with these other incidences, he said it just concerns him.
Okay.
Because he thought that I would get myself into a situation where I'd get hurt because I have that sort of attitude. And I was really, since I joined prepaid, I've been really trying to break out of my bubble and do things that are a little uncomfortable as far as talking to people. And I made a resolution this year to overcome a few fears that I have that I'm really scared of. So I think that by getting into that a little, then I can overcome some of that. But he did act jealous, but he wouldn't say he was jealous. He would just say
But
he
he would
was
tell other people about it.
What do you mean?
Did he tell Sky Hughes?
Oh yeah, I guess I may have told Sky about that.
But they probably had a conversation with him, and he probably voiced his opinion.
They had
about
many
how he didn't like it.
conversations. I know that him and Sky had a lot of fights and arguments, and I was the root of that a lot of time. But I think, all in all, they, especially more recently, they got along a lot better. I think she gave him a really hard time about our relationship, so that's one of the reasons he really wanted to keep it under wraps.
So, moving over to his trip to Cancun that he was going to. When did you first find out about that he was going with Mimi?
Oh, I found out about that at his memorial services on Monday. It was the Monday night memorial service.
So you didn't know that he was going to Cancun?
I knew he was going, yeah.
Okay. You didn't know he was taking Mimi?
I didn't know that. I think that's awesome, actually.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, Mimi had called him a week or two before, and I told him, look, if you want to take somebody else, it's fine, but I have something to tell you. I don't look at you that way. I don't look at you as a boyfriend. If you want to be friends, we can be friends. And that really broke his heart.
I know. He didn't tell me that, but I found out from his bishop afterward when I talked to his bishop. And his bishop did say that Travis really took that one hard, and he said he took it to heart. And he said he realizes that it's, I'm speaking from a bishop's perspective, he said it's because, Mimi is of a certain caliber when it comes to her spirituality, and Travis was just in another
He's
place.
struggling. And that's something he struggled with for a long time.
Well, I feel responsible for that partly.
Why do you feel responsible?
Because I moved away, but I had participated with him in so many things that kept us both down spiritually for a long time. I mean, if I had just cut ties completely, I could probably be married right now. I could probably be working on my own family.
What kept you
him
there?
too.
What kept you to him? I don't understand.
Well, moving is expensive, for one. So once I was there, I was kind of stuck there.
But why do you continue to go back to him? You know what he wants. You know that it's not healthy, but yet you continue to go back. And it brings us to this point where we are now. Okay, I mean,
I guess I physically.
you
I
keep
was
saying you knew that it wasn't healthy, and you knew it was contributing to something that wasn't good. And,
I think at the
but yet
time,
you guys continue to do it.
Yeah, and part of my perspective now has to do with the fact that I'm going through a repentance process that I've worked out with with my bishop, and he's given me certain scriptures to read and ponder and pray about, and it brings me back to where I was prior to all that. I don't know how much I ever really was there as much as I am now, because even before I was baptized, even the 2 days before I was baptized, 4 days, it was on Wednesday and I was baptized on Sunday, before Thanksgiving, and it was just like Travis and I were making out, and that was prior to, we hadn't gone all the way at that point, but was just too far. And I called him that evening and I said how it felt different. The first few times was like, hey, that was great, whatever. And then it just felt different this time. And it was right before I was about to be baptized, and I already had my interview, and so it was like, it was just different. And he said, well, yeah, he's like, I feel the same way, and I think that's the Spirit, telling us this, that, or the other. And so I think that by driving the Spirit away so much, you just get into this pattern of I don't know, it was convenient. There was a couple times where I didn't answer his text messages, and he would send me little sad faces, or eventually he would wait, and then he would call, and then he would call again, and if I didn't answer, he'd call 3 times.
And obviously you guys kept this relationship hidden from everybody else, and because nobody really knew about it.
Well,
There were some people who I talked to and said, yeah, they continued to have a relationship even after they broke up. And there are others who were saying that you had become obsessive with him to the point to where you would go into his house when he wasn't there, or when you weren't invited, and he would talk to people saying, she just kind of showed up, and I don't want to tell her to leave, but I don't want her here.
oh, must have been early on, because there were a couple times when we established a rule early on, just don't come over unless, he said, you can come over anytime, but I need to know first.
Yes.
He's like, you just never know.
Because you ran into somebody one time, right? Did you run into like one of his ex-girlfriends as well, or was it Deanna that you ran into?
Oh yeah, well that was okay that I was there. He asked me to stay there and be with Napoleon, because that was during general conference in October of last year. He took a road trip with some friends from his church to Utah, and unless he's going to California, he pretty much leaves Napoleon at home, and so he needed someone to be there. And it's like I got full house privileges. I could sleep in bed, I could eat food.
And I've talked to her, and she said that was kind of an unusual kind of situation. She didn't expect you to be there.
She didn't at all. And so at first I was like, did you give Deanna any flack over coming over unannounced? Because we had just set this rule.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I talked to her about it. He's like, but I'll tell you what, I was on the phone for 3 hours with her. She was freaking out that you were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the more people knew about us associating, the more stress we both got from it.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just easier to try and keep it a secret. And we didn't always do a good job at that. I think his roommates may have seen or heard some things.
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of kept to themselves types, so we didn't worry too much about them.
Okay.
There was actually one roommate, John Hepworth, who ended up remarrying his same wife and moved back to Utah. And I was cleaning his house one day, and John told me, he's like, Travis is dating. And I said, okay. And I assumed he was, going on dates and things. He's like, no, he's really trying to date. And I said, okay. And he's like, he's desperate to get married. And I said, I know, that's true. And he's like, I just wanted to tell you that because I don't think he's being honest with you. And I was like, okay. So that night, I confronted him about it, and we had a really big fight. And it was also, just a bunch of things were thrown in the mix together. And then he said, listen, I'm not dating anyone. But he was very angry at John for getting into his business. He told John in a very nice way, I think, hey, I know that you probably have good intentions, but just, mind your own business kind of thing. And from then on, I don't think John really said anything. And that was in October, I think.
You've kind of given me a really good rundown of your relationship, and how you guys thought of each other and stuff. And I was pretty close to right on with my theory on how you guys, why you continued to see each other and what was going on during that time. I think there's some other things that you're not telling me. I think maybe the jealousy probably continued even after the fact that you moved away. For instance, was it the week of the first week of June? You took a trip to Salt Lake City. Remember that trip we talked about?
Oh, this year?
Yes.
I'm thinking back.
You had left, I think it was like a Monday.
No, I left Monday, June 2nd.
Monday, June 2nd, in morning or afternoon or something. I can't remember, like late
I
morning.
think it was morning.
Okay, and you'd gone down to Reading and rented a car. Where did you rent that car?
The Reading Airport.
Okay. Do you remember what car company it was?
I don't remember the rental company, but I remember the make and model. It was a Ford Focus.
Yeah, I got that from other people in Utah. They said you showed up in a Ford Focus.
It was white, 4-door. No cruise control. I like road trips. Cruise control is really good.
You don't remember what company it was? Who rented
maybe.
it?
I did.
Was it with your credit card?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
Yeah, I could look it up.
And so
Maybe.
you took a trip and you decided to go to, instead of going over to Utah, you went straight out to Los Angeles area?
I went to Santa Cruz first.
Santa Cruz. Okay.
And then I stayed the night in Monterey. And the next day I drove to Pasadena,
Okay.
waiting for Laura to call me back.
You didn't contact her at all?
She contacted me finally after I'd already left LA.
It was too late. You'd already
Yeah,
left at that point.
and we had plans to do that again this week.
And which route did you take from there?
I was supposed to get on the 15 and go all the way up.
Mhm.
And I somehow got off the 15.
Where did you end up?
For a while I was lost, and I'm not above sleeping in the car, so I slept for a while.
Okay.
I'm a heavy sleeper and I sleep a lot, so.
But you were on the 15 for a while, and you ended up getting off the 15 somewhere?
Yeah, I looked at a map, and I'm pretty sure I know where I went. Can I draw you a map?
Sure.
Because I eventually started seeing signs for Phoenix, and I was like, and it was several hundred miles away still, but that's weird. Where am I going? So you have California, Los Angeles, and Nevada, Arizona, Utah. And I was supposed to go somewhere right up here. Oh, I'm a lefty. So the 15 kind of does one of these.
Yeah. Goes through, let's say, Las Vegas right here.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, my
No,
note
that's
is so
okay. That's
wrong.
okay. So we'll just put
I know it
Las-
cuts through Arizona in the corner. Las Vegas, St. George is somewhere here. And then the 40 runs somewhere this way, because somehow I ended up on the 40. And when I saw the 40, I'm like, the only thing I associate with the 40 is Flagstaff, and Flagstaff is somewhere
Yeah,
north
Flagstaff
of
is
Utah.
right up here.
I mean, northern Arizona. And so, and I was going east, and I was like, what's going on here? I wasn't going the right way. And so I've had, for the last 2 years, I've had a car that has a GPS system in it. It's really good, and I think it hasn't served me as far as getting a sense of direction. When I moved to Palm Desert,
Yeah, you kind of rely on it a little too much.
too much. In fact, when I moved in with the last place I lived in Arizona, I did not know how close it was to Travis. I didn't realize. I have a very bad sense of direction, and it wasn't until I used my GPS the whole time I was there, pretty much, just to find things. Anyway, so I got back. I looked at the MapQuest that I've MapQuest a bunch of places. I was maybe going to go to Death Valley. I was maybe going to
Did you actually cross over into Arizona? Is that how far you went?
I crossed over twice, I think. My map is wrong because the 93 goes north, and then I hit the 15 again, and then I got here, and then I hit Arizona, and then went here. Somehow I got north on the 93,
Okay.
and then I hit the 15. So, I mean, I don't know where Phoenix is in Mesa. It's got to be over here.
Yeah.
I didn't go anywhere near there.
So you took this trip and you left on, was it Monday the 2nd? Right? And you didn't get to Utah until Thursday, you told me.
Yeah, I got to Utah on Thursday.
So Thursday, and that's the 5th?
Yeah, I think so.
Monday, that's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, yeah, 5th. Okay, so it's like 48 hours there that, well, obviously 3 days, but there's 48 hours. So this trip took you a little over 48 hours there. I have a problem with this trip.
Well, I
Okay.
went first too.
Yeah, I know. I know you went down here.
Okay.
I mean, obviously, Wairika, right there. Beautiful little place here, except it's kind of smoky. And
Yeah,
I can't
right
see
now.
the views. I was hoping to see some mountains, but
You really should
Yes,
see
yeah.
Mount Shasta if you get a
okay.
chance.
I've gone over this trip over and over in my mind and on paper. And even if there's still 20 some odd hours, even if you pulled over to sleep a couple of times.
Oh, did I tell you that I got stranded?
Yeah,
Okay.
you mentioned that. If you slept for 10 hours,
I only slept for about
here
8
and
hours.
here, it would still leave 18 some odd hours for something else. Okay. This is what people are focusing on, is this trip that you took. Because they're saying she left, she didn't get till Thursday. Wednesday? That's when Travis was killed.
I did not go near his house. Aren't there?
I pulled your cell records. Your cell phone was turned off between here and here. Okay? But the last place it pulled it was here. The next place it turned on was here. What does that show me?
Oh, well, I began. Oh, no.
Is there plenty of time for you to do that? Yes. And do I believe that you had come to visit Travis? Yes. I truly believe it. Did you have the opportunity? Yes. You were traveling alone. There's no other witnesses. Your phone just happened to turn off from here to here.
Well, I didn't turn it off physically, but it died.
And then it magically, you found your charger here?
It was packed under the seat of the passenger side, and it was when I was.
When you were lost, you couldn't have maybe pulled over and found it? Or?
Well, I did finally start looking when I was stranded. I wouldn't have pulled over when I was lost.
Okay, I've been focusing on this and going over and over in my mind why this happened. Why your phone turns off here, outside of Los Angeles.
What city is that? Because I
Going
got
towards.
as far as
There's no cities, there's towers.
Oh, okay. Well,
Okay,
I
there's
got.
towers dotted all over this place.
Yeah.
One tower hit here, the other tower here on the 93. There is no way somebody can get on that 15 and magically get on that 93. Because that 15 goes right through Las Vegas, right there, and continues this way. It never goes through Arizona again.
I got off before Las Vegas.
Okay.
I didn't get that
The
close.
15, you'd have to go to Las Vegas and then come down south, go through Boulder City.
I went through Boulder City going north.
Did you cross over the
I know.
dam?
Uh-huh.
You didn't think that was odd? You were crossing it over Arizona?
Well, after I figured out it was lost by then, and I found the 93 and then found my way back to the 15.
And this tower here, it's not just over the border in Arizona, it's quite a distance inside of Arizona that it hit. Because there's a mountain range all along here. And if you're on this side of the mountain range, pretty good distance, that signal's not going to hit Utah, or Nevada or California. It's only going to hit Arizona.
Well, I had somehow gotten off the 15 and got onto the 40. Is
Okay.
what happened.
Well, the only way you can get on the 40 is if after you cross the bridge or the dam,
I think
river dam,
I think I got on the 40 in California.
from the 15.
Well, because I actually began to drive the 10 West.
But you see what I'm saying? The confusion that we're having? And we'll come back to this
Well, I got on the 40 somewhere over here.
in California.
Yeah, and continued to drive this way. Realized I was not in the right place at all. And then I got onto the 93 North. And then I hit the 15 again. And then I went through Las Vegas and then St. George and then on to Utah.
Okay. That still doesn't make any sense to me. And I can pull the maps and show them to you, and you can go over and over and over again. But I don't think you're being completely honest with me about that trip.
I honestly got lost. It's bad timing.
Were you at Travis's house on Wednesday?
Absolutely not. I was nowhere near Mesa. I was nowhere near
No.
Phoenix. I wasn't even close to him.
What if I could show you proof you were there? Would that change your mind?
I wasn't there.
You can be honest with me, Jodi.
I was not at Travis's house. I was not.
You were at Travis's house. You guys had a sexual encounter, which there's pictures. I know you know there's pictures because I have them. I will show them to you. Okay? So, what I'm asking you is for you to be honest with me. I know you were there.
Are you sure those pictures aren't from another time?
Positive. Absolutely positive.
The last time I had any kind of sexual contact with Travis was in April.
Remember I told you about the camera?
Mm-hmm.
That camera was damaged. Someone put it in a washing machine, ran it through a wash cycle with some clothes of Travis's, but the card's intact. Remember I told you that card was destroyed? I didn't want to tell you the truth because I wanted to make sure those photos were accurate, and we can pull deleted photos. I don't care if you delete them 6 months ago. We can pull every photo that was ever on there. Pull the little pixels together. Get the timestamps on them. Not all of them, but most of them have timestamps on them, and we can verify those timestamps.
Mhm.
And I have pictures of you in Travis's bedroom with Travis, pictures of him, and it's obvious you guys are having sex, taking photos of each other, and they're dated and timestamped on the day he died.
Are you sure it's me? I mean, because I was
Jodi,
not there.
It's you. And you know it's you.
This is the moment everything changes. For the past 30 minutes, we've watched Jodi spin an increasingly elaborate web of lies. She's talked about getting lost, wrong turns, dead phone batteries, sleeping in her car, anything to explain away the impossible timeline that places her in Arizona when Travis was murdered. But Detective Flores has been patient. He's been methodically poking holes in her story, letting her dig herself deeper and deeper. He knows something she doesn't think he knows. He's been building to this moment the entire time. What you're about to see is masterful interrogation technique. Flores has physical evidence, photographs, DNA, blood evidence, that will completely destroy every single lie Jodi has told. But more importantly, watch her reaction. This is someone who thought she was smarter than the investigators, someone who believed her story was bulletproof. In the next few minutes, you'll witness the exact moment a sociopathic killer realizes the game is over. Pay attention to how quickly her demeanor shifts from confident denial to desperate damage control. She's about to go from, I wasn't there, to, are you sure it's me, to eventually crafting an entirely new story.
I know all the details of this case. The only thing I don't know is why. Why did you choose to go visit Travis that day? And why did you do what you did?
I've never
Why,
heard
Jodi?
Travis.
You did. You hurt him. That's why we're here. That's why I flew up here. Because I needed to talk to you about this. I can just arrest you and throw you in jail, but I want to know why. Why did you do this to him?
I wouldn't hurt Travis. He's done so much for me.
There's so much evidence in that house. So much, and it all points to you.
I lived there. I was there for months and months and months.
I know you took pictures of him in the shower just before he died.
I don't think he would allow that.
And the camera actually took a couple of photos by accident during the time he was being killed.
Really?
Yeah, Jodi, really. You were there. Quit playing this game. It's time for you to just come out and
I didn't
tell
know.
me.
I did not hurt Travis. I did not hurt Travis. I wouldn't do that to him.
We have the pictures.
Can I see the pictures?
We have your blood at the scene. Your hair with blood at the scene. Your left palm print at the scene. In blood. What's going on there?
Well, I can explain the blood in the hair. I don't know about my left palm print.
How can you explain the blood in there?
Well, because I used to bathe Napoleon all the time. And,
You haven't been there since April, right?
well,
He's had the house cleaned several times since then. And this hair was not just a hair, from the shower or something. This hair was stuck with blood and obviously had blood on it. At the time it got stuck where it ended up.
my
there's
hair would
no
have been
way.
all over.
There's no other hair.
Can you take a hair sample?
We have your DNA.
No, but I mean, like, you know how they could do drug tests and find out when things were done?
No,
Can you,
we can't do that.
can't you measure the time?
We
maybe?
have DNA matching that hair to you.
Okay, I know, but my
And that hair had a follicle on it, and that means that hair wasn't there very long. The follicle will usually dissipate and go away. after a certain time. It'll fall off, the hair itself.
Well, when I would
Okay,
brush my hair
Jodi.
there, I mean,
This one, you absolutely cannot explain that away. You either had blood on your hand and you touched the wall, or there was blood on the wall and you touched the blood.
could my palm print have already been there and then I touched it?
Jodi, this is over. This is absolutely over. You need to tell me the truth.
Listen, the truth is I did not hurt Travis. Okay, so we're
Jodi,
safe.
you can continue to do this, okay? A records check shows you that you has reported a gun stolen. 25 auto. Just happens to be the same caliber as the weapon used to kill him.
A 25 auto was used to kill Travis.
Yeah, along with multiple stab wounds. Jodi, if you want, I can show you some pictures of him. Do you want to see pictures of him?
Part of me does and part of me doesn't.
Why? Because you don't want to remember?
No, I
Jodi.
there's a morbid curiosity.
Jodi,
I wanted to know how he died.
we can keep playing these games over and over again. I'm not going to believe you.
All
When
right.
you start telling me the
Listen.
truth, then I can believe you. But I can't deny this evidence. I can't. The trip you took doesn't make sense. The opportunity was there. Your pictures on that date with him. Your blood is in the house. Mixed with his. Mixed. Not alongside, but mixed. Your hair is there with blood. And your palm print is there in blood.
Was it,
It's over.
could it have been my blood from
Your
before?
image is not important right now. Saving the rest of your life is.
Listen, if I'm found guilty, I don't have a life. I'm not guilty. I didn't hurt Travis. If I hurt Travis, if I killed Travis, I would beg for the death penalty.
Was there anybody else with you?
I was traveling alone the whole time.
Was there anybody else with you at Travis's house on Wednesday the 4th?
I was not at Travis's house on Wednesday.
You were? Because that's when the blood was left on, the bloody palm print was left on his wall. I don't know what to tell you. If you were in my shoes and I had this evidence against you, what would you say?
If I had that evidence against you, it'd
Yeah.
be pretty obvious. But I guess being in my position, it just seems so impossible. I'd want to see it. I'd want to know. I mean, I'm not a murderer, but I guess if I were to do that, I would wear gloves or, something. How could I don't know.
I know you tried to wash him off, try to get some of the blood off, try to clean him up a little bit. But you're even denying the pictures of you being there. There's pictures of you laying on the bed in pigtails.
Pigtails?
Yes. And I've got pictures of you that I've blown up, and you've got the little mole right there. It's the same one. It's you. It's obvious. I can show you some of these pictures. Do you want to see the pictures? Will that change your mind?
I mean, I am curious.
Okay. Let me take a break and let me go find them. And I'll bring them and show you.
I wasn't there.
But you need to think about what you're saying. This continuing to lie is not going to help you.
Admitting
wanna-
to something I didn't do won't help me either. Okay, let's say for a second that I did. And I say, I did it. I mean,
The motive is there. The jealousy issue.
but I wouldn't even say it was jealous. I mean, there may have been some jealousy there, but
Then what is
I
it?
think if
What
anyone-
caused this?
I think if anyone, maybe Travis was jealous, but
That's not what everybody else says. Well, they know he was jealous, but they think that you are absolutely obsessed. Obsessed is the word that they use. That's the word I hear from everybody. Fatal attraction. I don't know how many times I've heard that. Look at Jodi. Jodi had to have done this, or she got someone to do it for her. There's not one person that says anything else. Why is that? That's the perception they have of you. And there's a reason for that perception. Maybe because it's true.
maybe because we kept hanging out,
Mm-hmm.
but not because it's true.
Cause this. I can prove you were there. I can prove it. But what I don't have is I don't have answers on why it happened. Or, maybe something just got out of hand.
I just-
Maybe things got out of hand.
Did you
and-
find the gun? Maybe that would.
Jodi, we're just playing games here. That gun was in your possession. When did you report it stolen?
I didn't even know that there were guns until my grandparents reported it stolen the day that their house was broken into.
When was that?
I don't remember. It was a few months ago, maybe.
What did you do with the gun?
I don't have a gun.
They're going through your house right now, so are they going to find anything there that will lead you back to this?
I don't think they would. I mean, there's nothing that could link me there. I mean, that's pretty compelling, I have to admit. If you found my palm print there, I don't know. That's...
Do you have a pair of sweatpants that's got stripes around the backside with zippers? Somebody's seen you wearing those before.
I've got so many clothes. Yeah, I think I do. Wait. I have zippered one that zips in the back.
It's got like stripes, like big stripe on it on the side. Well,
it's
kind of
got the
towards the
black
back.
stripe all the way down and they're white. It's got the black. I have those at the house.
Okay.
It's got, I have two pairs actually. One is too small and one is just about right. The other one I bought anyway, that was too small because it was on sale and it's a good deal. But yeah, they have stripes. And they have zipper. Well, what does that mean? What is that?
Because I believe you were wearing a pair like that when this happened. Remember I told you about the camera? It was taking pictures by accident. The camera was upside down, had flash. Another time, camera flashed. Looked like it was on the ground, maybe it was kicked. But it took pictures, and it's obviously a female. And one of them was wearing those pants.
Oh, I didn't even bring those pants on that trip. So,
And if we find those pants, is that going to make my case a little bit better? Yeah. Okay, I'm going to take a little break, but I need you to think about what you're doing here. Because the best thing for you to do is to tell me the truth. Tell me exactly what happened, because you know what? I think your mom and your dad really deserve the truth. They're going to be asking. And it's absolutely... It's so important that you tell me why this occurred, what was going through your mind, and what caused you to do this. It happened, and I can prove it happened, and there's no doubt in my mind, and there absolutely is no doubt in anybody else's mind who's investigating this, that you were there and that you did this. But I'll let you think about that, okay? And I'm gonna go look for some pictures, and I'll bring them over, and we'll continue this discussion. Okay, let me go find them. I'll be right back.
take this. I'm not a murderer.
Very bad. That's obviously Travis's house, right? Remember that?
Yeah. If Travis were here today, he would tell you that it wasn't me.
No. My job is to speak for Travis right now, and everything Travis is telling me is that Jodi did this to me. Have you ever shot that 25 auto?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever touched it?
The one that was stolen? I've never seen it. My good grandpa said it looks like a toy one.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what a 25 looks like. I know what a 22 looks like. I know
It's just like a 22, actually.
well, the 22s that I saw kind of looked like the ones in the westerns where they had the barrel and the long, you know. But there was another 22 in this store that looked like a toy gun, so it looked like a squirt gun, like a water gun. I don't know.
Where's that one? Remember him?
Yeah. Is he naked? In the shower?
Yep. Let's see, this is
Travis would never go for that.
soon after you and him had sex on his bed.
That couldn't have been too soon after.
An hour or so.
The last time
2
we had sex in
hours.
his bed was in April.
These didn't come out very good. Just their copies of actual photos. That's you. I wanted to cover you up because
Oh,
that's you. all of you.
That looks like me.
That is you. Normal right there you have on your face. You can look at the rest of it if you want. There's a few of those. There's a few more. Which I try not to show people because I don't want to put you out there like that to people. Let's just say I've seen all of you. And I've seen all of Travis. But the one that sticks in my mind of Travis is on the autopsy table. And I'm not going to show you that. Or should I? But this one I don't know if I should show you, but nothing bad. Too bad. But it's just one of the photos that was taken by accident. And this is just a small portion of it. It's your foot, Jodi. Those are your pants. No, it's off color because we had to enhance it and the color kind of changes a little bit. Let's try this.
This is his bathroom. That is not my foot.
These are your pants. It's a different color, like I said, because we had to enhance it and the color changes. The zipper back.
I have both of those pants at home. If these are the same one. I don't have a zipper there though. Not on mine. And this is a black stripe and this is white and the black goes around the line too.
Couldn't even recognize Travis. He'd been there so long.
I keep thinking of Brother Hyatt trying to dress him.
No, this is another one that's just a copy, but it's you. Same day. All time stamped, all everything. First picture, you were Travis. You see? The date. 6/4/08 at 5:22 p.m. That's when it started. Photo of you started, in Travis's bedroom. About 1:30, 1:45, something like
Yeah.
that.
I don't know what kind of camera I got.
There, see that?
That spot?
See the spots here? They look a different color because we used a chemical to enhance this. That right there, blood. It's a mixture of yours and his. And that's your palm print. Of your left palm.
I don't have any cuts on my left palm.
Nobody said that your cut was on palm. Do you have any recent cuts that are healing?
Well, my cat scratches me. Little things. These are all her work. You can see. This is her. That's her. I've got scars. She's a feral cat. All these little things are her.
Well, enough about your cat, but why is your palm print in blood?
How can that be my palm print?
Because you were there.
What is this?
That's before we used the chemical. We thought we'd get something from there, but this is where your palm print was. Right on the wall. I can go over and over and over again. Over and over again. There's no doubt in my mind that you were there. There's no doubt in my mind that you did this. None. So you can go until you're blue in the face and tell me you weren't there and you had nothing to do with it. I won't believe you. I will not believe it. Because Travis is telling me that you did this to him. That's my job. My job is to speak for him. And this is what he's telling me. And I want to know why. It's killing me inside. I don't know why.
Like, there's no reason for it. There's no reason why. There's no reason I would ever want to hurt him.
There's no way anybody else.
He never raped me.
Nobody.
He never.
There's no way anyone else could have left your palm print in blood on that wall. No way. Get that through your head.
If I was going to ever try to kill somebody, I would use gloves. I've got plenty of them.
Nobody said you were, you had planned this out perfectly. Maybe you were going there to just talk to him, have a good time with him. Something got out of hand.
Even if I were there, and even if I were going there to just have a good time with him.
What if I tell you somebody saw you there? A neighbor. Do you remember some of the neighbors?
Just
Who know
Dave.
you? The next door neighbor?
Mhm.
And his wife?
I don't know his wife.
Okay. What about some of the neighbors across the street?
No, I've never met them.
No. But you you've hung around there quite a bit, and they know you.
Mhm.
Yeah, they've seen you there on that day.
I wasn't there that day.
Jodi, you were there that day.
And even if I'm trying to think, the majority of the time that I spent there, I had platinum blonde hair. So, I mean, I've never once said hi to them, met them, shook their hand, met them face to face, crossed the street. When I spent time there, he wanted to keep it private, so it was, I spent the majority of my time inside. Not, walking around outside. Except for a few times when I took his dog for a walk.
Would they see your car there? Or would you park it down the street?
No, they would see it there. I drove an Infinity. So they would definitely recognize the car, I'm sure. Well, there were a lot of cars there a lot of the time.
Where's the Infinity now?
Just I gave it back to the bank.
To the impound yard somewhere?
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to find any evidence in that car?
You're free to look.
We're going to look.
You can also look in the rental car.
What company did you rent it from?
I don't remember, but I can check my debit card record.
Okay.
I remember the make and model.
Well, we're waiting for it anyway. But you know all the new cars have GPSs in them.
Oh.
Factory. Not for you to
Well, then that's
use,
good.
but for us to use if we need to.
Well, then that's good, because I was also going to ask you, I don't know if this is something that you can recall, but a lot of the stoplights in Mesa and things have cameras on them. Isn't there any way we could back that up? Or, if I were going to
Well,
going through that tunnel, is that surveillance?
No.
Is there surveillance anywhere?
Unless you ran a red line. Unless you got caught on a speed camera.
This is another brilliant interrogation move by Detective Flores. He's been systematically destroying every aspect of Jodi's alibi, and now he's about to close another escape route she didn't even know existed. For the past hour, we've watched Jodi try to explain away the impossible. The photos, the DNA, the bloody palm print. She's been scrambling, throwing out excuse after excuse, but Flores has an answer for everything, because the evidence is overwhelming. Now he drops this bombshell about GPS tracking in rental cars. Remember, this is 2008. GPS tracking in vehicles was still relatively new, and most people didn't realize rental companies were using it to monitor their cars. Jodi certainly didn't. Watch her face when she processes what this means. She thought she was so clever, renting a car with cash, turning off her phone, trying to create an untraceable journey. But technology was tracking her, every mile, every turn, every stop, including any detour to Mesa, Arizona. This is the moment she realizes there's no story she can tell, no lie she can craft that will explain away a GPS record showing her car at Travis's house on the day he died. The net is closing completely.
But nothing beats that stuff. And I have a solid case against you. And I can present it to the judge. As cold as it is now. I don't know why she did it. Or I can present it to the judge with your explanation. With your parents' explanation.
What do you mean?
Have you talked to your parents about what happened?
I told them I was worried about stuff.
About what stuff?
I said that, well, they knew I was upset about Travis, and I feel really bad by the way I was acting, because there wasn't, especially toward my grandparents, there were a lot of times.
Why are they not surprised that you're sitting here talking to me about this?
What do you mean?
They're not surprised. They're
Probably
concerned. They're
Have you talked to
hurt.
them?
I haven't, but my other detectives have. And they're very concerned with you. But they kind of suspected that you had something to do with Travis's death as well. Whose
No.
parents think
No.
that?
That's because I told them that a lot of people were dropping my name, and I said I'm not worried about it because I didn't do it. I said, but it's hurting my reputation right now, and it's casting me in a bad light.
I wouldn't be worrying about your reputation right now. I'd be worrying about the rest of your life. That means nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Well, my reputation will affect the rest of my life.
Well, they didn't tell me
What
much, but I know,
happened?
all I found out is what I know is that her boyfriend, I guess it was, she had talked to my other daughter, Angela, about getting married. And then they broke up, but then they became good friends because we talked to her on the phone occasionally. I mean, she was really sporadic. Sometimes she was a real nice one. My wife can talk to her more than I did because me and her really didn't get along good, but she was my daughter, so financially I helped her out whenever I could.
She mentioned that.
But she strange person because after she left the house, she just kind of got a little strange. She's really friendly. Sometimes she'll call and real sweet. And 10 minutes later, she'll come and call in a rage, and just screaming at my wife. And she did that for the last year and a half. She was doing that a lot.
Any idea why? What
No,
she's
well,
going through?
only I can tell you is that probably financial problems because she was going to file bankruptcy, but she didn't have the money to. She lost her house, broke up with her other boyfriend prior to Travis, and I've never seen a picture of Travis. She showed my other kids, but she's never showed us anything.
I know you probably want some details, but her ex-boyfriend Travis Alexander was killed in June 4th, and it was during the time when Jodi was traveling from here to Salt Lake City, and we did track her route, and we believe she did go to Mesa. We have a lot of evidence in the house that points towards her as being the person who committed the murder. The only thing I don't have is why she committed this.
I know, man. She was getting along with him so good. She was, because he was even offering her car, and then the U-Haul ruined it because they didn't take it out of gear because she didn't know what she was doing. They hooked it up.
Yeah, the BMW.
Yeah,
she ruined it.
and she told me, how are you going to pay us? How are you going to pay him? He goes, Travis said I could just pay him, on payments. He said, but then we're going to go through a prepaid legal machine because she was doing something. She said they're going to sue U-Haul for not, setting it up right. And as far as I know, that's all. I don't talk to her much, but she did. I just can't believe that she would do this. When she told me she was going to Utah, she told me her route. She was going to go down to see some friends in Big Sur or Monterey, and then she was going to go to LA to the convention, and she was going to go right up to Utah. He says, and then after this happened, I just kind of got an inclination. I go, wow, man, I don't think so, because she was just acting so normal. And then when she heard about the news, I think it was either Friday or Saturday after he was killed. I don't know, was he killed on Thursday or something?
He was found on Monday the 9th,
Okay.
like late at night.
Okay, because I know it was that weekend. She bawled her eyes out. She was already back, and everything was nice. She came over to the house once, and nothing big, no big deal. And then she went home, and then that day I called her, and she couldn't even talk. And I go, what's going on? She goes, Travis was murdered. And
What did you think?
I didn't do much. I just thought, what the hell? Well, I want to know what she did. And all she could tell me is, later on she could tell me she was going to leave the area. I go, why? She goes, because why? And then she came over one day. I was on Dallas, just got on Dallas, sat down with my wife, and we talked to her for 3 hours while I was on it, trying to get the question. She said, I can't tell you what's going on, but all I know is I got to leave. And I go, why? She goes, because I might be blamed for something. I go, what? And he goes, I can't tell you. She goes, I just won't tell you. And she refused to, never told us. Even this morning when I picked her up at the house to go to the Hertz, I said, okay, your final chance. She said, she said she was going to be back in 3 days, she told us. At least she told me that. And I said, are you going to tell me or what? I said, I want to know. And she goes, I can't tell you. I says, I don't want you to get involved in anything, so I'm not telling you nothing. And I just go, oh well. And then I thought, and then she told me that she quit her job yesterday because the police had called. And then I said, well, what are you running away for if you're not guilty? She goes, because I don't want to be a part of it. I don't want to be part of anything or something like that. And I go,
Where was she going? Did she tell you
I
where?
have no idea. She just told me she's leaving. She goes, she'll see us some other time, but it's going to be a while. But then today she told me she was going to be back in 3 days because she left a lot of stuff at grandma's house.
Well, I talked to her for over an hour and a half, and I left with more questions than I had answers for. I still don't know why. She just refuses to tell me why.
She won't talk to us either.
Yeah, she won't talk to me. And I've been talking to her since the day after Travis was found. I talked to her on the phone, and she called me 3 times that week. It was a couple times the following week. Every week she calls me. And I just sense that there's something there. And from day one, even before we found our first piece of evidence linking her to it, I knew there was something there.
Well, all her old, first time, she doesn't trust us because we're parents. When she was in 8th grade, she got busted for growing marijuana with her Tupperware, putting it on top of the roof. We found it, and they called the sheriff's department. And then they busted her, and then, I don't know, some of her friends or something. And then we searched her room. That was the first time we ever searched her room. And after that, she was kind of like, something turned in her head that we were nosy parents, and we're gonna search everything she had. So she hid everything from us and always has since then.
Wow.
She's never been honest with us since then. And she was probably 14 then. She has never been honest with us ever since then. And then when she had the house in Palm Desert, we told her we wanted to come visit her, and she goes, where are you going to stay? She didn't want to stay in her house because she was afraid we were going to snoop through her stuff. And I go, hey,
That is kind of strange.
that's just the way she's been. And then when she was in Palm Desert after that, man, that's when everything, I don't know what, it's been a couple of years then. I said she's been a little crazy for a year. It's been longer than that. Now I think about it, when she moved to Palm Desert, because, she started using her credit card to make her $3,000 a month payments because she lost her job or something. And then she got just financially in debt.
That's not good. She hasn't been in a good situation in a while then, huh?
No, it's been bad.
Well, this Travis guy, I guess, helped her out quite a bit.
As far as I know, but I do know that one day when she called me crying hysterically when she decided to move to Mesa, Arizona, she snuck up at his house and she looked in the window and she saw him there on the couch with another woman. And here she was planning on marrying this guy. So she just left.
You're going to continue with the story then that you weren't in Mesa on the 4th, you weren't in Travis's house, you didn't have sex with him that day, and you had nothing to do with his murder.
Those pictures are, I don't know, to me pictures are very compelling. I know that they can be modified, I know they can be altered, and date and time stamps, I don't know, but I think they can be
I
tampered
didn't
with.
modify anything.
I don't think you would.
We take absolutely special care of what we do.
I know.
We actually take an image of that card, or let's say you get a computer, we take an image of that hard drive and make a copy of it. We don't even touch your hard drive. We just work with the copy. And that's exactly what we do with the photos. We don't work with the originals, we just make an exact digital copy of everything, move it over so we don't touch it, and then we analyze it. And our guys are so good, every case they've ever done that I know of has never been lost in court. It's been argued and argued and argued. There's no way that they duplicate, or that they enhance, or that they change, or that they do anything to a photo.
If I'm found
That's not
guilty, what
true.
happens?
They'll have to pay the price.
Well, what's the price?
I don't know.
Don't you know what the sentences are? The sentences that are carried for something?
It
a crime like
depends
that?
on your situation, how old you are, depends on the type of crime. It depends on whether you show remorse or not. And part of that remorse is at least coming clean. When somebody doesn't come clean, I don't see any remorse. I don't know if a judge would see any remorse. I don't know if a jury would see any remorse. But I don't know. That's not for me to decide. My job is to investigate, find out who did it, why they did it, and present it to a court. And that's it.
I just can't imagine.
You have something to tell me, but you're just so resistant. I know you're afraid, but you're already going through it right now. There's no backing up. There's no backing up to yesterday. There's no backing up to that day. It already happened. And unfortunately, you're gonna have to face the consequences.
You know, if I did that, I'd be fully ready to face the consequences. I'm not really for things like, you know, I'm all for the 10 Commandments, thou shalt not kill,
Mm-hmm.
okay? But,
There's no evidence to show anybody else did that. None.
well, I'm just,
You think we'd find somebody else's fingerprint if they did that? Possibly. There's something that happens. You keep saying gloves. There's things that happen when people wear gloves. Then we can actually see that, well, somebody wore gloves in this case. Nobody wore gloves in this case. Nobody.
well,
no
I'm
evidence of
just
it.
saying that if I were to carry out something like that, I would have worn gloves. I would have a
Nobody
whole
else.
box of
Nobody
gloves.
else did this. There's no evidence to show that anybody else did this, but you. You were the only one. That is it. And I'm not seeing any remorse. I'm not seeing anything from you to make me believe anything otherwise. You can continue to say, I didn't do it.
Well,
But you're the kid that got caught on videotape stealing the candy. And you continue to say, it wasn't me. I have the proof. I have the pictures. It wasn't me. I don't think you would admit to it if your own mother saw you do this and she told me, yeah, I saw her do this. You would say, no, it wasn't me. Why won't you admit to it?
I just can't. I didn't kill Travis. I just didn't. I did not take his life.
Did you have anything to do with the death of Travis?
I don't think I had anything directly to do with it, but I feel responsible somewhat for it.
Then what can you tell me about his death?
You know a lot more about it than I do. When I say I feel responsible, it's because I wasn't planning to go there at all, and he really wanted me to go. And I told him no, and I would have if it weren't for Ryan. And there's nothing really with Ryan and I. In fact, he has been very hesitant to move anything forward because he's not sure about me. He said a lot of people are talking. I'll just tell you that right now. I really wish this would get solved so that we can just put it behind us. Maybe that's a good thing because he's not an active church member anyway. But the reason I feel is because if it weren't for Ryan, I would have folded and I would have just scrapped all my plans and spent all of my days there. But I didn't, and I stood strong, and he got mad and got got sad and he guilted me. He didn't get really mad, he just kind of guilted me. And finally he was like, whatever, fine, we hung up. I feel that if I would have gone there, that I could have done something. I could have.
But you were there, Jodi. You were there on Wednesday before.
Can I ask you, I don't know if you know this. Oh, I have a camera in my storage unit that I don't use anymore, but Travis and I used to use frequently. And we took pictures with it. This is, I don't know. This is kind of.
Do you remember taking these pictures?
There were many pictures. Vaguely. We took tons and tons of pictures. Some I saved, most we deleted. Some he sent me through his phone.
He usually deleted all pictures like this.
Yeah, well, before he got there.
Any pictures like this that I found anywhere on his computer, camera, anything, they were deleted.
Well, prior to him getting his camera, all those pictures were on my camera. So.
All these same pictures?
I don't know. We took a bunch the week before I left. We took a bunch over the last 6 or 7 months. We took over last year even when we were still dating, but we would delete them mostly. There were some that he sent me that I didn't delete. What I'm asking is it possible that, that my memory card would have been in his camera if they're interchangeable?
How do you know if they're interchangeable?
I don't. That's what I'm asking is what kind of memory card it was.
Just a regular little SD card?
Well, because I've got one that's like this big, and it's thin. It's like a cracker. And the one I use on my professional camera is like this size, and it's more kind of like that thick. And the little one is really thin, and it's got like little thingies here for reading it, and my big one looks like that in the middle part. So that one obviously probably wouldn't be interchangeable because it's a Canon and it's a nice
It's
camera.
not interchangeable, it is.
But the other one, I don't know.
Your camera's here, his camera's there. He just bought that camera.
Well, the other camera that I used before that's broken now, it's in my storage unit, but it's still there.
And you're saying those pictures are on that camera?
No, what I'm saying is I had several memory cards for this camera that I don't have anymore. And so I guess it's so far-fetched, but I guess it's possible that my card.
You're saying somebody took your pictures or your card and is framing you and put that into his camera?
I'm just saying that if my memory cards were left at his house, he would have used those for his camera. I don't know. I can explain the blood though, and I can explain the hair. I don't know about the fingerprint.
I can't explain the blood or the hair.
Well, the hair, there's hair everywhere, and probably every square inch of that house. My hair.
Yeah.
If you sweep it, you'll get hair everywhere. All over around the toilet, around in the shower. I don't know about the shower because the shower gets used, but definitely around the bottom of the sink area. And maybe
Still doesn't explain the hair to me. It had a follicle in it. You haven't been there since April. There's no way. No way. The blood? No.
Well,
The blood is mixed with his, and that's the blood that he bled that day when he was killed.
well,
Print?
I don't know
Absolutely
if you can
not.
check how fresh the blood was.
No, we can't check how fresh it is, but we can go by where it is.
Oh, okay, because I cut myself. When I was.
And you're saying that blood that you cut yourself with back, who knows when, was still on the wall in the exact same spot
Oh, I don't know. about
where
that.
the bloody palm print was.
It was a glass that Travis had that I was using to wash Napoleon with. I used to give him baths. And I dropped it, and when I picked up all the glass, and I'm pretty casual about it because I break glass at work all the time, and it's not a big deal, it's nothing to be scared of. And I was probably just being careless with it, and I sliced myself open, and
Is that how you want to leave this? Just these far-fetched excuses on why your blood is there, why your hair is there, why your palm print is there, what pictures are there.
I don't know about the pictures.
That's how you want to leave this? I wouldn't want to. I seriously would not want to. You need to come out and tell me why this happened. I will not accept any other excuses. I will just move on with my investigation, with my final report, submitting all the conclusions and all the evidence. And we can just let a judge and a jury decide. You yourself said that if you were in my shoes, you would think that I was guilty. We can leave it in the
What
hands of
about
a
a lie
jury.
detector test?
We can do that, that's fine.
Would that help me at all?
I mean, you can't use them in court, but
Well, then there's no point in taking it. I thought those things can be used.
in certain cases.
In this case.
If you want, I can check. Absolutely.
If I passed a lie detector test, would that help me at all?
Could help you.
They're so weird anyway. Travis
This is your one opportunity to talk to me because it's going to be a while before I talk to you again. And it's not going to be in this kind of setting. Okay. Do you understand what's going to happen to you? Well, we're going to, since these charges are out of Arizona, we're going to send you through the court system here. And then we're going to ask to extradite you to Arizona from California. That just means permission for you to bring you over because you're out of state lines. And the next time we talk could be in a whole different setting. Could be in a jail somewhere. I think this setting is a little bit better. But it's up to you. Jodi, I know you were there. I know that Travis was either in the shower or just outside the shower when he was shot. And I know somebody who was extremely angry at him took a knife to him and couldn't stop. Couldn't stop. And before you knew it, it was all over. And then you panicked. And then
I've never been that angry at him. Not enough for that. I've been so far angrier at other people, at other ex-boyfriends.
Then tell me who could have done this. Who did this?
I don't know, but if I go to trial for this, and if I'm convicted for this, whoever did this is going to be sitting very pretty somewhere. Glad that it wasn't them.
And there you have it. The moment Jodi Arias realizes her web of lies is completely unraveled. Detective Flores has systematically destroyed every alibi, every excuse, every fabrication she's constructed. The photos, the DNA, the bloody palm print, the evidence is overwhelming and irrefutable. But even when cornered with absolute proof, Jodi maintains her innocence, suggesting that whoever really killed Travis is sitting very pretty somewhere. This is classic narcissistic behavior, deflecting responsibility, even when caught red-handed. What we've witnessed here is a masterclass in interrogation technique and the psychology of a killer caught in the act of deception. But this is just the beginning of the Jodi Arias story. Later this week, I'll be releasing the continuation of her interrogations, including her second story about the mysterious home invaders, and her final claim of self-defense. We'll also dive into footage from her trial, including her 18 days on the witness stand where she attempted to convince a jury that she was the real victim. The rabbit hole goes much deeper, and the manipulation tactics only become more elaborate. Make sure you're subscribed, because the next chapter of this psychological thriller drops in just a few days. Until then, remember, the truth always leaves a trail.